via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and Skype. Be with an awakened one to reach eternity. Be with an awakened one to reach eternity. There are two types of movements. One is horizontal movement and the other is vertical movement. Vertical movement is from the lower to the higher, and horizontal movement is from left to right. You remain on the surface. And where the two movements intersect one another, you are entering into eternity. This is the meaning of the cross. The horizontal and vertical movements intersect one another, and that is the sacred heart. Along the horizontal line, the time moves. Time is one-dimensional. Time is the world and eternity is God. All horizontal movements are part of your finite world, and the moment your journey begins, the vertical movements, you are entering into eternity. You are entering into eternity. While you are with me, be with me. Out of your love, be totally free with me, so that you can learn a new movement, so that you can move into eternity beyond time and space, beyond time and space. According to Sufis, they point out very clearly in the teachings, when an individual comes in your connection, पहले जज्ब के मुकामात की सैर, first of all take him through the realms of jazb, absorption or love. Nafs comes a part of that. All that relates to love and the physical connections. Only then there is a possibility that there will be no danger in the growth of an individual. पहले जज्ब और उसके बाद सुलूक के मुकामात की सैर करानी चाहिए. इससे ही सलामती की उम्मीद है. First, the person should be carry the master. He knows he is freedom. He can take you through the various stages of love and then transcends you, suddenly changes the direction of your energy. I may be talking to you on a subject related to your physical life. You will not know at what moment the direction is changed completely. What moment you have been taken from that realm and then I bring you to my realm. From physical to eternal. From horizontal, all of a sudden I take you on to the voyage. When the plane is taking off, it runs on the runway, attaining different speeds, going slow when it starts, gains momentum, and then it goes with such a tremendous speed, because that speed is necessary for it to attain to altitude, to change its direction from horizontal to the vertical, from world to the eternal. and then all of a sudden it raises the hind legs, the front wheels, and starts going up. And when it reaches, it's continued to move in a vertical way, and then when it reaches the required altitude where it's supposed to go. In the spiritual journey, you have to be taken through the various stages. The heart center, the throat center, the third eye, and then it goes on an altitude. During that period, the captain makes the announcement, keep your seat belts on, until the captain turns off the sign of the seat belt. You are on a voyage. Spiritual journey is a voyage which can be very much similar to the journey of the plane. And when you reach there, you gain a certain altitude and you start moving on that until you reach the destination. Now, I am the captain to take you on that voyage. So while you are here with me, be with me totally, reflecting on the words, whichever way you can connect to me, that is important. Doesn't matter, you have to choose how you can connect to me. This is a broad spectrum. Sufis call this as tasawwur-e-sheikh, remembrance of the master. Maybe a particular word of the master has made an inscription, make an impression on your heart, and you can never forget. A poet has said, एक बार जो तूने पुकारा था मुझे, एक बार जो तूने पुकारा था मुझे, ताज़ीस्त मेरे मन में बसती रही शहनाई, ताज़ीस्त मेरे मन में बसती रही शहनाई. Once you have called me lovingly, that small voice, that intoxicating voice, the echoes of that continues to linger in my ears like the dissolving notes of an enchanting melody. Like the dissolving notes of an enchanting melody. The melody had happened millions of years ago, but its echo continues to linger in my mind. That face, just a simple touch. The words are alive when it comes out of you. They may touch you. They may reach to the innerness of yours. Sometimes they reach so deep. They are like the seeds which are being implanted into you. And then they start working within your framework. So while you are here with me, be with me. Be totally with me so that I can allow the freedom for you to. You are sitting in the plane. You can reach to the higher altitude. Master is that aircraft of spirituality. You ride him, you ride his shoulders, and he takes you the various stages. But for that, the trust, the love is very important for the one. Remember, time is the world and eternity is God. Horizontal is the world, and vertical is God. Both meet at a point. Both meet at a point. That's where Jesus was crucified. You have to be crucified so that the Christhood in you is born. So that the Christhood in you is born. Both meet horizontal and vertical. at a point where they meet. That point is here now. And that is beyond time and space. From here now, you can go on two journeys. One is in the world. You can go into the future. The other journey into God, into the depth, in your own inner depth. Master has provided is everything, the physical being, the presence, for you to enter into that depth. Become more and more aware, more and more loving, more and more connected, more and more sensitive to this moment. How can it be possible? You may wonder, how can it be possible? You are so fast asleep that you can make that as a dream as well. You can make that itself a thinking object, a thinking process. You can become so tense about it that just because of it, you cannot be in the present moment. You do not need to do anything. The things are happening. You are simply flowing with the river. Simply flowing with the river. If you feel too much guilt, you move immediately into the past. It has been such a long routine, and sometimes you will start thinking about it. The future, immediately you will feel guilty that you have committed so many wrong things. This is not the time to lament. Never become guilty. Understand sin, but do not become guilty. And this is very, very delicate. If you become guilty, you have missed the whole process, whole thing that I am trying to infuse into you. You start thinking about the past because that present is no longer present. It is now past and you are feeling guilty about it. You are missing it. So remember one thing. Whenever you remember that you have gone to the past or into the future, do not create any problem out of it. Instead, simply come to the present. I am listening to Taos. Whichever way you address this presence, names does not matter. What really matters how deeply you are connected. It is okay. Simply bring back your awareness or remember. You will miss many a times. It is not going to happen right now, immediately, but certainly it will happen. And whatever obstructions comes is because of your indecision, lack of trust. You have such a long fixed mode of behavior that changing becomes sometimes difficult. There is no worry. Remember, God is not in a hurry. Eternity can wait till eternities, and it has been waiting for the flower to blossom in you, so that through you, my fragrance, my beauty can manifest. I can wait, but it is to happen. Do not create tensions about it. And still you ask me that encourage me. My presence is more than enough an encouragement. The composer. The moment I become silent and you look into my eyes, there you will find all you need, encouragement, whatever you may call. It is for you. Do not create any tension about it. Whenever you feel you have missed, come back. And that is all. No need to feel guilty, no need to worry about anything. Guilt, worry are the tricks of the mind. Tricks of the mind. Just when you think so, come back to whatsoever you are doing, taking your shower, eating your food, going for a walk. Come back. The moment you feel you are not here now, come back simply and innocently and say, Tao, I am back. I'm with you. This is a broader sense, the aspect of tasavvur-e-sheikh. Tasavvur means remembrance. There is nothing else for you to remember in your life. Nothing is more precious than the tasavvur, the remembrance. It can be in myriad forms, just as I said. एक बार जो तूने पुकारा था मुझे, ताज़ीज़ मेरे मन में बसती रही शहनाई, ताज़ीज़ मेरे मन में बसती रही शहनाई. That echoes I continue to hear every moment. Sometimes I just sit down and I feel you are calling me. It is total absorption. And Sheikh means the subtle presence of the Master. Subtle presence of the Master. It can be in the form of words, in the form of anything that appeals to you. This you have to decide. What form of His helps you to come closer to Him, that brings you in that connection. There is no need to create anything there. There is sin, there is no guilt. But difficult for you, if you feel there is something wrong, you become immediately guilty. The mind is very cunning. If you become guilty, the game has started again, but on a new ground. But everything is the same. People say, we go on forgetting. We go on forgetting and suddenly they become so sad. Everything is going right. Suddenly you become sad. We try, but we remember only for a few seconds. That is enough. We remain alert, self-remembering, then again it is lost. What to do? Nothing can be done. Nothing can be done. It is not a question of doing at all. Remember, it is not a question of doing. What can you do? The only thing that can be done is not to feel guilty. Simply come back. The more you come back simply, but remember not to return with a serious face or much effort. Return simply and innocently without creating any problem out of it. Because eternity has no problems. All problems exist on the Horizontal plane, nowhere else. Horizontal plane alone. So too, this problem will also exist on horizontal plane. Vertical plane knows no problems. It is sheer delight, without any anxiety, anguish, worry, guilt or anything else. Be simple and come back. Be simple and come back. You will miss many a times because it is taken for granted. But there is no need to worry about it. That is how it is. You will miss many a times, but that is not the point. Do not pay much attention to the fact that you have missed many times. It is natural. Pay attention to the fact that you have regained many times. How many times you have fallen into distrust and immediately it has come back to you. Remember this. Remember this, how the love has pulled you from all the difficulties, brought you back into. Remember this, the emphasis should not be on that you missed many times, it should be how you have regained it. What have you done to regain? Just a remembrance of a particular word or a particular gesture. When you recall that the Master, I recall still when my uncle or grandmother will look at it, that just that moment, as if everything has melted. Everything just simple. The moment I call you lovingly, and you remember that, immediately something begins to happen deep within you. And that moment, you have come back. A stage comes, that particular countenance, that particular words can never be erased from your memory. This is this is why Sufism is the path of love. You are so much in love. If you have understood the intensity of love, then nothing else is needed. And love is the most simple aspect of life. Everyone has that. Walking, waking, sleeping, there remains only one remembrance, nothing else. And if you can remember this sentence, एक बार जो तूने पुकारा था मुझे, ताज़ीस्त मेरे मन में बसती रही शहनाई. Taziz means ere long. Shehnai means oboe, the sound, the pleasant sound. You have called me lovingly. Everyone will remember the first meeting, how you met, how that has created an impact into your life. That is an indelible impression that cannot be removed from your mind. And that alone becomes the beacon light. You are human. You have lived on a horizontal plane for many, many lives. So it is natural. You have done the impossible. Feel happy about it. In 24 hours, 24,000 times you will miss. but 24,000 times you will regain. How many breath goes out and how many comes? The same amount of breath goes out and same amount of breath comes in. Now a new mode will start functioning in you. So many times you come back, now a new dimension is breaking in by and by. More and more you will be able to stay in awareness, and less you will go back and forth. More and more you are coming into it. The span of going back and forth will get smaller and smaller. Smaller and smaller, less and less you will forget. A stage comes in when you cannot forget it. With this you are entering into the dimension, the vertical dimension. Suddenly one day the horizontal disappears, intensity comes to awareness and horizontal disappears totally. This is the reason behind Shankar, Vedanta and Hindus calling this world as illusory. Because when awareness becomes perfect, the world that you have created out of your mind simply disappears. The misery, the problems that you have created out of your mind suddenly vanishes. Another world becomes open to you. The illusion, the Maya, disappears. Illusion is there because of your sleep, your unconsciousness. It is just like a dream. In the night you move in a dream, and when dream is there, you find that it to be true. Have you ever thought in a dream, this is not possible? The impossible happens in dream and you cannot doubt it. So when you have the problems converge around you, you are in a dream state. In a dream you have such faith that nobody is skeptical. Not even a Burton Russell, no. In a dream, everybody is like a child, trusting whatsoever happens. When you are in a state as you find yourself and you say out of that, encourage me. In a dream, everybody is like a child, trusting whatsoever happens. You see your wife coming in, you see your spouse coming in a dream. Suddenly, the spouse becomes a horse. Not for a single moment you say, how can it be possible that I was seeing my spouse, beloved, and all of a sudden it turned into horse. How can that be possible? Dream is trust. It is faith. You cannot doubt in the dream. Once you start doubting in a dream, the rule is broken. Once you start doubting, the sequence of the dream begins to disintegrate. Once you have started doubting in a dream that the rule is broken, once you doubt, the dream starts disappearing. Your problems that you have created around is dreamlike. If even once you can remember that it is a dream, suddenly this will become a shock and dream will shatter and you will be fully awake. The world that you see around you is not the real world. Not that it does not exist. Certainly it does. But you are seeing it through a screen of sleep. And unconsciousness is in between. You look at it You interpreted it in your own way, but you are like a drunkard. I have heard once Mullah Nasruddin came running. He was totally drunk, and the man who was operating the elevator was just going to close the door. Mullah somehow pushed himself into the elevator. The elevator was overcrowded. Everybody became aware that Mullah is drunk. Even his breath smelled. He tried to pretend as if he is not drunk, so he turned his face towards the door. But the door could not see anything as his eyes too were drunk. Eyes too were drunk and sleepy. Somehow he was trying to stand, but it was not possible either. And then he felt very much embarrassed because everybody was looking and everybody was thinking that he was completely drunk. Mullah could feel that. Then he suddenly forgot where he was. He said, "You must be wondering why I called this meeting." Imagine Mullah's mind. He forgot that he was in the elevator, and he said, "You must be wondering why I called this meeting." Seeing that many people were around, he thought that he had called a meeting and the people were wondering why. By the morning he was okay, and then he laughed himself just as you are laughing. I recall one of the teachers, the head of department of the college where I studied. He was the department of the philosophy. He always walked with a long flowing jacket and trousers, a cap on his head, and a walking stick in his hand elegantly. So he was walking down from his home to reach to the college. And it used to happen that he will reach to the classroom, he will put his stick in the corner and then sit down on the chair to begin his talks. One day the opposite has happened. He put his walking stick on the chair, and he himself stood in the corner. Another time it happened, he was coming down, he felt that he is getting late for his class. But I never had the philosophy as my subject, but I used to, whenever I had time, to listen to him or have a private talk with him. He told me many things which are still part of my understanding. So on the way, that was a cantonment area. So the official residence of the government authorities were there, the administrative authorities. He saw a door open. He entered there. He saw a gathering of the people, maybe a meeting was going on. He was well known for everybody used to see him walking down the road. So he thought these are the students sitting in the class. And he, as usual, put his stick in the corner, sat down on an empty chair and started to talk. When he had spoken, everyone became silent, and they listened to him. After that, the district magistrate said, he says, "Sir, we are very delighted to have you among ourselves. But it was not your classroom. Instead, it was the resident of the district magistrate of the city." Then he also, so it was not my classroom. He said, okay, I have to rush to reach to my classroom. This is sometimes your state, and you can laugh. All Buddhas have laughed when they awaken. Their laughter is like a lion's roar, that of Bodhidharma. They laugh not at you, instead they laugh at the whole cosmic joke. They lived in a dream, in a sleep, intoxicated completely by desire, their own anxiety, their own mind, and through desire, they looked at the existence around, in and around. Then it was not the real existence. They projected their own sleep onto it. Projected their own sleep onto it. You are taking the whole existence as a screen, and then you project your own mind into it. And you see things which are not there, your own imagination. And you see things which are not there. And you don't see things which are there. You see things which are not there. And you do not see things which are there. And the mind has explanation for everything. That's what you keep on giving me. I have one more question. Okay, tell me that also. What is your question? You remind me of Mullah Nasruddin. Again, he is the wise old man. He was looking for a job and he applied for a job on the ship. So the captain interviewing him, he asked, suppose while we are traveling, sailing, and suddenly a storm grips the ship, what would you do? Mullah said, in that situation, we take the anchor and throw it in the ocean. This ship will get steady. That's very nice, Mullah. Thank you, sir. Then the captain asked, suppose if there is another storm, what would you do? The same thing. I'll release another anchor. All right, that too is right, replied the captain in affirmation. What would you do if the third storm comes in? Same thing, I'll just release another anchor. So the captain asked, Mullah, where are you going to get all these anchors on the ship? Not so many anchors are there in this ship. So innocently and very wisely, Mullah, the wisdom always speaks through innocence. A wise man is never aggressive. He is very innocently, he gives you his message, response. He said, I will get these stones, the anchors, from the same place where you are getting so many storms, one after the other. So where is your questions arising from? Okay, all right, go and tell me what is your question. And the mind has explanation for everything. If you raise a doubt, the mind explains. Mind creates theories, philosophies, systems, just to feel comfortable. And nothing is wrong in it. All philosophies exist to make life convenient, so that everything looks okay. Nothing is wrong. However, everything is wrong when you are asleep. And when you wake up from that slumber, when you wake up from that slumber, you can give it that laugh of a Bodhidharma, the roaring laughter. It happened in the 10th century AD. A Buddha was traveling from the shores of India to China. the king of the Wu dynasty invited him to come to China. A great master is coming from India. There is a great enthusiasm. King Wu came along with his retinue, the ministers, the family and the elite, the rich, all of them came gathered to receive Bodhidharma, the great master. So, met on the border. Bodhidharma was walking in a unique way. He had one slipper in his foot and the next on his head. Now you are expecting a great master, you are a philosopher that lived your life in falls. So you are expecting that he would be dressed like this and that and so, but he has come in an unusual manner. One slipper in his foot and the next on his head. So the king felt embarrassed. Bodhidharma said, "This is how I am. If you want me to come to your place, I'll come. I have come here for someone. I have come here for someone. And I will wait when he comes to me." And it is said that Bodhidharma remained for 9 years facing the wall, sat in meditation. Then a man came and he said, "Bodhidharma, turn your face towards me." He said, "There is no need to turn the face towards you because you are also like a wall. My message do not enter you. It strikes the wall and comes back, reflects back. The life, if a surface is shining, the light falls instead of absorbing into it, it reflects back, comes back to you as if the courier has gone, but it is not, there is no one to receive it. So what these courier people have started doing, a new technique. They just leave it where they feel is safe and they write in their notes, "Left at the doorstep." So they have finished their job. I have delivered it and I have left it at the doorstep. Because they need supposed to get the signatures. So instead of coming and going, that is what, no, I'm not doing that. Left it at the doorstep. And that's it, their notes is complete. So Bodhidharma waited. Then a man came and stood behind him. He said, "Bodhidharma, turn your face towards me. Otherwise I will cut off my hands." Bodhidharma said, "That will not help me." Cutting off the hands means what? Was he going to cut off his hands literally? Hands are used for service. Hands are used for service. When he said, "I will cut off my hands," means I will offer myself into service, your service. Bodhidharma did not turn. Then he said, "If you are not turning your face and you are not convinced when I said cutting off my hands," then he said, "Bodhidharma, I'll cut off my head, otherwise you look towards me." Then Bodhidharma said, "Now something can happen. You have to cut off your head. Behead yourself so that, again and again, suppose a bird comes in and makes the noise at the place. Birds comes and sits down on a particular place. You cut off that and it will not come back to you." And then Bodhidharma turned towards him. He became the third patriarch in Zen Buddhism. And the name of that person was Huineng. He became, as we call in Sufism, the Khalifa, the chief descendant. Everything is wrong while you are asleep. Everything is wrong while you are asleep. Wake up. And that's it. I am here to wake you up from that deep slumber. Nothing else is my role. Only this much for this morning. Take care. Do have a pleasant day. Until then, take care.